What is going on, everybody? In this video, we are giving you a state of the market and stock picks for April 28th, 2022. That sounds like something you're interested in. Consider subscribing, as I do provide daily and weekly updates to get you prepared for the day and the week ahead in the markets, because it is extremely volatile for 2022. That is for sure. So diving straight into state of the market right now, this week, we are heavy big tech this week. So far, we've seen what Google has done. They have essentially done pretty bad because of the ad revenue. And being said, they sold off, but they bounced back pretty well today. And so that is something I've been kind of talking about is Tesla. You know, it came in, it did really well. Then the market sentiment came out. We had Powell that followed up that essentially sold off the market. So there was a lot of weakness there. And so moving forward, you got a lot of mixed messages from the banks. There's a lot of different mixed messages in general, but ultimately understand that the market right now, it is actually holding extremely well. Now, we have to remember that we have the Fed next week as well. We also had Facebook earnings as well today after the bell. They beat estimates, but being said, they failed in many other departments as well. So with that being said, Facebook did horrible and they ripped up. Right. I think that was more so the fact that they thought Facebook, well, I think a lot of people expectations of Facebook was essentially done. And they came out and they showed that as long as they beat, that's what mattered. And the market liked it. So we'll have to see how the market continues to do. We have some huge earnings tomorrow. You got Amazon and Apple, which are the bigger heavyweights. And we've got to see how they do. And then from that point, I think what we might continue to do is we might just continue to play this area and consolidate going into next week, something I talked about. The market still wants to see what the Fed has up its sleeve. So being said, I don't think the market could rip into next Tuesday. It very well could. It essentially knows what the Fed is going to do. Maybe we're just waiting on Apple and Amazon. Maybe that's why Facebook exploded. There's a lot of different theses and different opinions out there. We don't know exactly, and you'll never know exactly what is going on in the markets. So I say you got to come up with your own thesis and realize that the market can shift at any point during the day with any new news events. It could affect the sentiment of the market, and you have to know that. You have to be mindful that. And this is why you can't come in and thinking that it's going to go one way, it's going to go another way, that it can change again on the flip of a dime, and that this market is event-driven. It's always been event-driven. Technical analysis has not worked for the past 4 to 5 months. Now, what works to some extent, I'm starting to see some of it work a little bit better. But ultimately, understand this is why I do supply and demand. Supply and demand has always been really strong in events. Those are my two biggest indicators that help me out. And then I use EMAs to kind of find some key levels, especially when you start getting a lot of heavy selling or heavy pushing. You got to watch out for key levels. So being said, going into tomorrow, we'll have to see what Facebook's earning does to the market in general. Does it push the market up? Does a lot of stuff start to push? Some stuff started to push today, Tesla, Apple, and then sold off towards the end of the day. So I think it's going to be a lot of chop again going into tomorrow. Again, the biggest moves have been happening first thing in the morning in that first hour and a half. And then from that point, the market's pretty much dead until the end of the day. And then you get one last move in that power hour. And that's pretty much it. And then that's what the stock market's mainly been consisted of to this point. So, except for some of these, sometimes you get these heavy selling days, and sometimes you'll get a parabolic day. I think very much so. I think we're going to get a parabolic day with the way Facebook did. I think if Amazon and Apple do good, I think we might actually get a parabolic day in tech, because tech has been selling off heavy. And I think we could get a 1 or 2 day push, maybe going into the Fed, or maybe it's going to wait till after. If it waits till after, I think you might get a whole market bullish sentiment push up after the market digests what goes on with the Fed. So you're probably talking about a week and a half out before something like that might occur. But I think we are in for another parabolic move that could potentially bring us back up to where these 2 days where we essentially just lost a lot of gains here on the general index. But I think we could start pushing back up. Again, we haven't really retested some of these levels. You're going to get a lot of resistance and chop on the way up. And we've seen that when we try to break up the last time. See, I'm talking about a parabolic move like this. I think we get another parabolic move like this off the floor here and potentially push up and then go from that point. Again, I think the market in general for the rest of the year could look a lot like this pattern. You know, these massive moves up, sell off, massive moves up, a lot of chop in between days, and then go from that point. But again, I think as long as we don't break this 4167, I think we're pretty solid. I don't see any catalyst to really turn us down. When the market starts holding and news comes out that could potentially like sell and it holds, it's a good sign for the bulls. So something to really watch. So essentially we're playing this, again, the 4160 mark to essentially that 4300 mark. I think we're going to play this range possibly tomorrow going into Apple and Amazon earnings. And then I guess if they do really well, Friday could be a big day to the upside, possibly even into Monday, Tuesday morning, and then kind of sell off going into the Fed. It all depends. Again, the Fed is Tuesday and Wednesday, but what we're really concerned about is the report that's on Wednesday at 2 p.m. and Powell at 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday Eastern Standard Time. So that's what we got for the index. Bitcoin is still doing solid. It's as long as it holds this zone here at the 37.8, there's essentially around 38K mark. As long as we can hold this, we'll be okay. Again, we're creating a wedge here. I think we get another massive move. I think the market in general is the same kind of way. If we jump back to the SPX real quick, we kind of got this wedge break here, but we kind of died out. I think we're going to get a nice move up. I think, again, we're just waiting on Apple, and then we could get a nice parabolic move of Friday and Monday into Tuesday. It could be a very strong possibility. Let's go in tomorrow. What am I looking at? I want to watch Apple. I want to watch Apple primarily, just to kind of see where they're at. I was concerned that it broke below the 200. I did play the rejection off of that. But then it could chop pretty much. Now it's back over. I think this could actually probably go parabolic tomorrow if the market starts picking up. Again, there's a lot of premium built into Apple contracts right now. Have to be mindful of that, especially if you go swinging. If this thing doesn't make a massive move, you're going to lose a lot of money because they've been trying to bake in a lot of this crazy price action that's going on. So being said, with all the volatile moves, again, once big earnings goes away, once this week goes away, once we get the word from the Fed, that premium will kind of burn off. So when we actually move, your options contracts will make more money. Right now it's kind of tricky. Things can push really hard and hardly even get any kind of gain off of that push. So and that's just because so much is priced in right now. Although some of it's starting to die off. Earlier this week, it was a very different story. So Apple is one I want to watch tomorrow. Facebook, watch for continuation on this. So key level, the 20 is the 2100, the 200 mark, psychological level. If it breaks this, I really don't want it because that means it's going to come crashing back down to the 187. Again, if the market sentiment is that, just wait. But it needs to break and hold above this 208. If it can break and hold above this 208, so kind of look at the top of this range. If we can break essentially around that 211 mark, open that 1 hour candle above that, I think you're pretty solid push up. If Facebook can get any kind of momentum, it does move very well. It's been a while since it's done that, but you have to see if it's going to be the Facebook of old or not. So That is one I want to watch tomorrow. And then as far as anything else, I'm kind of hesitant and everything else. Tesla is always one to watch. I always bring this one up, especially after the massive selling. If Tesla can break that 905, I think we get a nice pop back, at least to the 957. Strong possibility. You've got a lot of resistance up here. They can reject this. And I think Tesla's really waiting on the Twitter news. If they find out that Elon is buying Twitter with Tesla shares, this thing can drop possibly another 100 points. Very strong possibility. So that's what I'm kind of watching very closely for the next couple of days and see if that's going to happen or not. Again, as soon as that news drops, you're almost guaranteed to grab puts, and that thing's going to drop at least probably 50 points. So really watching that closely. But that is pretty much it. I'm keeping it pretty light going into tomorrow. There's some other possible plays with chips, but really want to kind of see how the general market sentiment is. Again, you want to get a strong feeling for the lead stocks. If they are doing well, then play them. And then when they die out, then you shift your focus into the mid caps, small caps, and play them. So you typically have that rotation, and then you always have value. Value's been a big rotation in a lot of these, and it's been crazy to actually see the shift between value and growth very quickly. I'm talking about within a couple of minutes, you have a massive spike in value, and then it will essentially drain the money, the liquidity out of those value stocks and put them straight in the growth, and then they start pushing up. So just be mindful of that, to be mindful of the rotations that are going on, and really kind of see what's going on there. But if you made this far, I appreciate you, and go ahead and drop a thumbs up. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.